Welcome to Rubber Duck Off-Road Garage. My name is Grant and today is maintenance day on the wife's Grand Cherokee. This is a 2015 EcoDiesel Grand Cherokee Limited. It's got 130,000 miles on it now. Things we're going to get done today. Stuff I've done before, but because I'm in the garage, you know, it's what's got to be done. We're going to do air cleaner, oil change, and fuel filters. So I do the fuel filters every 10,000 miles right now, and I do the oil change every 5, and the air filter I just do it as I check it to see where it's at. It's been a while, so it's time. I probably should check it more often. I think they say in like the manual, like at least for my Gladiator, it's like every 30,000 miles or something like that, or depending on driving conditions. We do live on a dirt road, so we get a lot of dust in the summertime. So let's just get started with that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to find my oil catch pan. I don't know what I did with it. It's around here somewhere. It might be outside. I don't know. Oh, I found it. We'll grab that. We'll get the oil draining, then we'll come up top, and we have to take off the you have to take out the air box here. I have to take this out. I have to remove this because the filter and cap and all that are down there, tucked away, nice and inconvenient, but hey, it's not too bad. Been doing it for a while now. Plus, got to change the air cleaner anyway, so we'll just take the box off for that. Grab my flashlight here, some sockets. Get down underneath here and get the oil draining. I hurt my back the other day, so it's been pretty sore. An old injury flared up. I'm doing a lot better. At least now I can move. So there's your little hole. You might not be able to see it right now. So that little hole right there is where your drain plug is at for your oil pan. This thing looks pretty gross underneath here. I had the oil changed at a place one time, and they put the cap on wrong, so it was leaking oil, and it basically covered this air dam thing. And yeah, it's not cool, but you know, what can you do? That's what happens when you trust a place to change your oil and they do a crappy job. It wasn't Jiffy Lube this time, but I normally do it myself because I've done it enough on this thing to know how it goes. The biggest problem with these is they do the cartridge filters, which they're kind of a pain in the butt. The way they go. I miss the old days of an actual oil filter, but what can you do? It's an Italian diesel, so I know over there, like BMWs are the same way. They use those cartridge filters. I think some of the Volkswagens are the same way. There's quite a few cars switching to that nowadays. It's kind of weird, but you know, it's technology changing and everything like that. So now that we got the oil draining, we will go back up top here, turn the light off, and we'll oh jeez. We'll let that drain, and then we'll take the air box and that stuff off out of the way. We're gonna need a flathead screwdriver. There's never one around when you need one. Found one. So you gotta undo this plug here for your, I think this is for your, now I can't think of what it's called. Your air sensor, mass airflow. It's one of those mornings. And then we'll loosen this up, this hose clamp up back here. We'll undo all the clips on our air box. And then we'll pull it out. Come on. It's a little difficult doing this with one hand. There we go. And we'll just set this aside for now. So there's the cap for the oil filter. I have a wrench or a socket for it. I think it's like a 20. Oh, what size is that? Is it the was it? No, it's not the inch. I thought I had a actual socket for that one. I don't know what I did with it. It's got to be around here somewhere. Oh, I think that's it. It's a 27 millimeter. I knew I had one around here somewhere. So now that the oil is draining down there and we can get to this up here, we're just going to loosen the cap to let the pressure out. Because you got to let the top up here drain. I normally cheat as well. I use a vacuum kind of thing and I suck it out. Thing's pretty awesome. We're just going to let that do its thing. Then we'll take the air cleaner out. The old one's pretty, yeah, it's looking pretty rough. So we'll just toss that one in the garbage. Let's grab the next one here. So I've been using these EcoGuard oil filters on this thing for quite a while, and they've been pretty good. I can't remember if that last air filter was an EcoGuard. It probably was, because their stuff just works. Yeah, it was. It looks exactly the same. Look at that, nice and clean. Stick that in there. Let it sit there until we're ready to put the cap back on. Oh, I missed. Ugh. So we're also going to be doing the fuel filters today. The fuel filters are, I think they're supposed to be Mopar, but oh, it says Docks Grand Cherokee 3-liter fuel filters. There's 2 of them. I've done a fuel filter change video before, but like I said, I'm doing maintenance, so I'm doing everything right now. So now we're gonna grab the flashlight that I left down below. And now we can hit a better side of the cap here. Okay. What I like to do here is I like to grab some rags and stick them down in there so I don't get oil all over the place. Come over here to the rag bin. Grab up some stuff. This is one of the things I don't like about this type of oil filter. So it's up top here for one, which, whatever, so be it. That's not the biggest reason. The biggest reason is it's not that easy to get out of here without making a mess. And you know how shady car dealerships are these days, where, you know, they'll see oil leaking down and they'll be like, oh, this thing leaks oil, we can't, you know, we're gonna have to knock $10,000 off your trade-in value and all that crap because they're so shady nowadays. But it's like, no, it's just from changing the oil on the way these new frickin' vehicles are set up. So I'll tuck something in there like that. That way when I pull this thing up, if there's anything left in there, like you can see it dripping, it'll drip on that rag. And then I'll take another rag in my hand here and I'll grab it from underneath so I can pull it out without it dripping too bad. And then I'll set this aside for now, because the Gladiator, when you buy an oil filter, it replaces the whole clip. This thing, no, you just pull the oil filter out and you keep the cap. So you see how there's still oil in there? That's where my cool little buddy here comes in handy. We take this thing and we stick the hose down in there, and then on the other end we pump. All right. Now I'll kind of wipe out the cup a little bit. Now that that's done, we can pull this rag out. And now we can do our oil filter. So what we do here is we just take it, grab the oil filter, pop it out, throw it away. And then you got to get the little O-ring that's on here off too, because you replaced that. Like so. Now, like I said, with the Gladiator, and I think a lot of the newer EcoDiesels, when you buy this, it comes with everything. It says, like online, it says fuel filter, like if you go to like the dealership or whatever, but it comes with the cap. It comes with the whole setup. So it'll come as one unit. Basically, it'll be this already snapped in there, and then it'll come with the O-ring. So on this one, you just snap the new one in there, get rid of the box, miss the garbage can like always. Then you take your O-ring, and you want to make sure your O-ring goes back in the groove right here, not up here, because that's place I took it to that one time and had it changed. They put the seal right there. Well, that seal needs to be in here between the two spots, because up there it will leak. So just like that. And then you can take some oil and dip it on, get this seal lubed up and lube this seal before you put it back in. So there should still be enough, hopefully, inside here. If not, I'll climb down on the bottom down there and get some out of the catch pan. Okay, now we stick that back in there. Screw it down. And that gets torqued to 25 Newton meters, which I think is right around 18 inch-pounds, somewhere around there. Okay, got my torque wrench. I was right. It's just about 19 foot-pounds, so I do 19. I mean, if you want to hit it just right, you can try to figure out the Newton meters, but I've been doing 19 for every oil change that I've done on this thing and haven't had a problem. So there's that. Next step will be to put the plug back in on the pan. First we'll put the cover back on the air cleaner and all that, and then we can move on to putting oil in it and then fuel filters. So let's go ahead and put this piece back on here. just slips back on there. We'll tighten it down after we get the cover back on over here. So over here you got to get these two tabs underneath there, and then it just clips back on like normal. And then tighten up our hose clamp. And then don't forget to plug your sensor back in, because if you don't, it will throw a check engine code. Alright, top side is done other than putting oil in. So let's get back down to the bottom side here, put our drain plug back in, and then we'll put oil in it and we'll move on to the fuel filters. I was going to rotate the tires, but my back's a little too sore for that. So shouldn't matter too much. This thing is basically all-wheel drive the way it's set up, because it uses that auto change transfer case and all that crap, so it should be fine. Plus they're not too bad. I've looked. Alright. And that's that. Alright. I'm gonna get this stuff pulled out, and then we'll go to dumping the oil in. Okay, so plugs in, pan's removed, underneath is done other than fuel filters. We'll put these over here with this stuff for when we get ready to do that next. So the oil is T6 Rotella 540. So there was a recall a while back, well, not a while back. Now that I think about it, this is a 15, quite a while back, and they went from the 520, I'm pretty sure it was 520, to 540 Rotella T6. This is what they sell you at the dealership for this one. So newer ones are different. Like I run AMSOIL in my Gladiator. It's still 540, but it's a different type of oil. It's the Euro oil, and I run the AMSOIL version. So this takes 8 quarts, which is 2 of these big jugs. Okay, now we can jump in and reset the oil light and fire it up, blah blah blah. So resetting the oil light in this thing, kind of a pain in the ass. So I'm gonna click it on here and not start it, but I'm going to get to where you can see the oil life. See, 33%. Okay, So to do this, you're supposed to turn it to run and push the accelerator evenly 3 times, allegedly. So we'll turn it to run. We'll slowly push the accelerator. 1, 2, 3. And then turn it off. That should have reset it, but we'll see. It normally never works the first time. They changed this in the Gladiator. See, it still says 33%. Ah, there we go. So in the Gladiator, you just have to push and hold a button, push and hold OK, and it'll reset itself, which is kind of nice. This whole trying to, oh, excuse me, do the accelerator pedal thing is just awful. But they did that, you know, because they want you to take it to the dealership and change the oil, because they're the only ones who knew how to reset it, which is, in my opinion, garbage. All right, so now we're going to fire it up. Run it for a couple seconds. See, 130,035. This thing's been pretty fantastic. She's getting kind of around town, an average of like 23 to 24 miles per gallon, which is pretty good. On the freeway, you can get it to like 30, which is pretty good. So can't complain too much. And it sounds awesome in the morning time when it's really cold, because I love the sound of a diesel when it's cold. Ugh. All right, let's check the dipstick. And not the guy holding the camera. Fantastic. Okay, that concludes that part of it. I'm going to dump this oil into these old jugs, and then we'll jump on to changing the fuel filter. Alright, so for the next part of this video, you can either look at the video I made for just changing the oil filters, or you can follow along on this one. I have everything I need here: flashlight, wrench to pull out the old fuel filters, the new filter filters, the Phillips to take the little drain plug out to drain the housing. So let's get to it. We'll fire up the light. There are the fuel filters right there. So to do this, you don't have to drain your fuel tank or anything like that. First thing you want to do is there's this little yellow plug right up here. You want to pull that little plug out. So just loosen it up. And let it hang, and that'll drain the housings. It doesn't drain the tank, just the housings. That's how you would drain your, like if you're getting a water fuel alarm, or light, that's how you would drain that if you needed to drain the water out of the system and you weren't changing your filters. This uses the same size socket as your oil filter. There's one. And there's two. So here's your new filter. I'll take a little bit of diesel fuel from wherever on my gloves already and just kind of lube that seal up a little bit. Just so it kind of slips in there a little bit easier. And then the second one. I didn't see a torque anywhere for these, so I just kind of turn them until they stop and then give them a good little push just to make sure they're tight enough. Haven't had a problem with that yet. I mean, you could always torque them to the same thing as your fuel filter, or I mean your oil filter, but I think you'll be fine either way. I haven't had them leaking on me at all, and it is a pressurized system, so as long as you don't see the green seal anymore, you should be good. And then the last thing you do is you put your little drain plug back in. And that's that. I'm going to get everything from underneath here and we'll move on to the final step. Alright folks, so the final step in this process is now we have to prime the fuel filters. And the way you do that is you just sit in it and you turn it to run. Don't put your foot on the brake, because if you put your foot on the brake, it'll try to start, and you don't want to do that. So you turn it to run, let it do its thing. You'll hear the fuel pump brrr, underneath. Might make some funny noises. It sounds really weird. And then it'll stop. Go ahead and do this again. Turn it off. And then turn it to run without your foot on the brake again. And we're going to do this a few times, just to make sure. Ugh, I love the smell of diesel in the morning. This is the longest part of this process. Everything else is pretty quick. Changing the oil, changing your fuel, your air filter. Even changing the fuel filters doesn't take that long. It's just priming that pump. So it stopped again, so we're going to do it again. I'll probably do this 5-6 times before I start it, just to make sure, because I've done it where I've done it like twice and tried to start it and it wouldn't start. So I'm gonna make sure that it's good, hopefully. You can hear it run and then you can hear it click and it'll stop. You won't hear a noise anymore. So we'll do it again. We'll do it one more time. All right, here comes the moment of truth. Let's see if it worked. Yeah, fired up. All right, let's get it off the ramps. All right, fantastic. Maintenance on the wife's Grand Cherokee, done. Yeah, all in all, that was pretty good. We got the air cleaner changed. We got the oil changed. We got the fuel filters changed. I was gonna rotate the tires, but I'm not feeling it, so I'm not gonna do that because my back is sore. Other than that, there's just little things that need to be done here and there, but not really anything at all. This thing has been fantastic for us. So on that note, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for watching and have yourself a wonderful day.